little bit late, 7:35. Just for the record, in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over Lunenburg Public Access. Thank you, Lunenburg Public Access, for all you do. First item on the agenda, does everyone have, did you need an agenda, Troy? Do you have a copy of the agenda, Bob?
There.
Sorry.
No problem. First item on the agenda is some announcements. One of the announcements would be our I&I project ongoing, which we'll talk about a little bit in the meeting. Next announcement would be our grease trap non-compliance forms, which were sent out. They're getting the logs or request a hearing for forest all fee assessments. We do have an opening on the commission. We have actually 2 openings, but I'm proud to say tonight that we have a young lady here that's going to be a write-in candidate. And Sue, if you'd like to come up, introduce yourself, your address, and...
Good evening. My name is Susan Bunish, and I live at 30 Pleasant View Avenue, and I'm going to be a write-in on the ballot for the Sewer Commission. I've had a little bit of time to spend with the Sewer Commission and realize the work they do. The initiative is really important, and I would be very happy to be able to make a positive impact, help out a little bit.
Sure you will.
Sue, before you step down, I'd like to, one, officially thank you for stepping forward for the town. The election this year is at the high school, and it'll be on May 16th. So if the residents at home, and Sue, if you can give us a spelling of your last name, and I hope the residents at home are going to take a little note.
Great. It's Bunish, B as in boy, U-N-I-S-H.
Okay, and Sue, I want to thank you very much for stepping forward, and I urge all the residents at home to please write down Sue Bunish, and again, congratulations and thank you for serving the town.
Thank you.
Which leaves us one more opening, by the way. So if you know anybody who would like to join, and to be on the Sewer Commission, and Butch and I has been doing this for 5 years, you don't have to know how pipes work. What we need is more common sense and business-oriented, and you fulfill those quite elegantly. So again, thank you very much for stepping forward.
Thank you.
How about Lois Lane?
As a reminder, the Sewer Commission still has one more opening. So if you could, please step forward. You can either come on as a write-in candidate, or you can talk to either Barbara or our chair, Mr. Luck, and talk about how you could come onto the board. First thing, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any board comment?
You don't want mine.
Okay, let's go right into our appointments. First one's for 7 o'clock. It is with our Wright Pierce SRF project. The bidding status has been done for the project. We're down to 2 lowest bids. I'm happy to say that the bids came in lower than what we projected. These 2 bids now are being done, examined by Wright Pierce, and they'll be getting our information together and coming to us at the board with their recommendation. So, like I say, the last 2 bidders, I'm very excited with the numbers, and that's a great thing. So we'll be bringing that out probably within our next sewer meeting on the 14th.
12.
Excuse me, the 12th.
At that same time, the information meeting?
Yes.
Possibly? Oh, no. Oh, no, he wanted one to be scheduled for
Right.
televised, I'm sorry.
The next item that we have, are there any questions on that as far as the, okay? The next information we have is we're doing an informational meeting for the residents on Pratt, Lakeview residents. We're trying to schedule that on our next televised meeting, which will be 5/26. And if you have any concerns or questions that you'd like to bring them up in regards to the expansion that we're doing, that we're very proud of, please come to the sewer meeting on the 26th here at this office at 7 p.m. Current business. Grease traps at 1 Main Street. Barbara, if you could just give us a little update on where we are with that, and as far as filling in the board.
Yep. We've gone around a little bit. We did determine that the regulations that were being used at the last meeting didn't reflect a change that was voted into place in December 2013. So I have the new excerpt that shows that it's upon a remodel or a new ownership change, the decision to install a grease interceptor or more equipment is as a may need to be as opposed to a shall be. So I just wanted everybody to know that. I also wanted to give everybody, just so you have it for your records, a new, the current copy of the grease trap rules and regs, so we don't hit up against that again. So based on that, we're looking again where Jack is having the lines cambered to determine the level of grease in the pipes. And based on whatever that determination is, we will make a decision going forward.
Thank you, Barb. For the board and as far as the residents, 1 Main Street was the old Village Pizza. We've had problems in the past at 1 Main Street Village, in that area with grease infiltrating our lines. There is a new owner going in. We have spoken with the owner, and we're still working this out with our Cammering and Jack at the DPW. But the other thing we've done is send out our regulations not only to the landlord and the new tenant, but we've also made sure that the plumbing inspector, the building inspector, all those people have gotten the regulations. We are recommending a roundtable meeting in the future, and Sue, you'll be involved in that one, to sit down and open communications with all the building inspectors and the town officials as far as where the sewer stands. But one thing we have to make quite clear, grease is a killer for our pumps. And a pump station to be replaced can go from anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. So it's crucial that this town protects its system from the grease, especially at 1 Main Street, where it has a history of grease going out. Do we have any comment from the board on that?
Mr. Chair, I have a question about how this regulation is being interpreted by land use departments. And when we talk about all new and remodeled, and those experiencing a change of ownership, I think that the intent of the regulation was that anytime there's a change, that this would be reviewed. And I know that through the process of this application, that this has been interpreted as being something other than that, or very strict to those words. And so I think it would move the Sewer Commission to come up with something specific as to what is intended by that of the regulation.
No, it's a very good point, Mr. Daniels. I think when the intention was done, the intent was for a situation that's happening at 1 Main Street now. It's owned by a landlord, but the tenant use may be the same use, which is whatever it is at the time. But when there's an ownership or a new tenant moving in, the intent's still the same, but you're 1,000% correct. The regulation is very vague, and we know by the Sewer Commission, we have a pretty good sense of what we're looking for. But if you look at the code, which I think you looked up some of the codes as well, it's kind of clear, but yet still vague. Most states, just so that everybody knows, are going into outside interceptors no matter what goes in. Each building that's being built has an interceptor. Mass is generally changing, starting to change some of those laws as well, again, to protect the grease in the sewer lines.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think that it should also be noted that our regulations provide that at any time that we identify that there is grease going into the system or whatever, that we can require these interceptors be installed, regardless of any change that they can be installed at that time.
I think, and Troy, maybe you can help me with the determination. I feel we have that authority now. when we started the grease trap policies in town, we were trying to make sure that the new residents, or I should say the new commercial owners, had a chance to do it right, which is why we went out to the grease trap checklist. We also didn't want to put hardship on an existing building by adding another layer of, you got to do this. So at the time, the board elected to wait till there's a change of use, and then go proceed and follow the policy that's outlined in front of you. But I must strongly recommend that, Troy, you keep that going into the next seats that sit here, because we are the protectors of the sewer system. And if there's a flagrant violation, yeah, I would follow that guideline. I would say, you know what, you're getting a lot of grease and we need an interceptor. So that's going to be the struggles of this new board that's going to be going forward to protect the system.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would say that yes, based on the regulations that we do have the authority to do that now. I would say that it doesn't necessarily need to rise to a flagrant violation. It could just be normal use that would require normal use for a certain user of the system.
Yep.
That might require it. That, at least that's my understanding and my position on the sewer commission.
I would suggest then that Barbara make a list of what establishments are left, because most of them have exterior grease traps now. There aren't too many that have the interior ones, if I'm...
No, there's still quite a few that don't.
And I think, again, at the next time when there's a new board, and start identifying those and seeing if they are a problem to the situation, or if we can come up with a solution to it.
Agreed.
But I think the next thing would be the roundtable meeting plan with the building plumbing inspector. I think the chair, Mr. Luck, would like to have it on 5/12, Barbara, if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
at
Do it.
6 p.m.
Right.
He would like to schedule Adam,
Burn.
Adam Byrne, the land use, Mike and Gary, the building inspector and the plumbing inspector, which are all, by the way, Mike and Gary, they're great guys. It's just that they need direction too. But it'd be nice to work it all out together and that we're all on the same page.
Are you guys available? Is everybody available for that time?
And that goes for us too,
I'm available, yeah.
Butch. There's a workshop on the 12th at 6 o'clock at the DPW.
Nope.
Anything else? Okay. Next one is the the I&I inspection project. Bob, if you want to fill us in a little bit about that, I think we got an update last minute here.
And actually, I got a new one from Pat right before we came, that he sent. They've looked at 134 buildings, had no answer at 39, and so far have 0 positive sources or suspect sources. So that's the first round is complete. The second round begins next Monday, for next week.
Okay, and for the information at home, what we've been doing is the same we did over in the Wayland District last year. We're inspecting the homes for violations as far as tying into sump pumps into the sewer. This is a good report. I want to thank all the residents who are in the area with their cooperation as far as letting these engineers in, which they are from Weston Sampson. If anyone has a question on that or are suspicious, please feel free to call Barbara at our office, but they should be having identification before you let them in the house. Is that they have 2 people, if I mistakenly, so there will be 2 certified inspectors from Weston Sampson.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, there were 2 people that came to my door, and I let them in, and they were very nice, and they were very quick and very pleasant, and did the inspection very, very quickly. It was a painless process, and
Well, that's right. You're part of the district.
I'm checked off of one of those who is complete.
Complied.
And,
Good.
complied, and it went well.
Good.
That's, I forgot you guys are in that district. But again, thank you to all the residents who are cooperating. We appreciate it. Next one is the town meeting on May 2nd at 9 a.m. at the Lunenburg High School. Just a reminder, we have 3 articles on the agenda. and I can go into it. Bob, if you want to explain the articles?
Sure. 17 is our budget article, standard budget for the operating year, fiscal year 16. 21 is the reserve capacity stabilization fund, basically, so that if we receive monies for reserve capacity, we have a place to hold it, so it doesn't get put into retained earnings automatically. 38 is the third one, and that's the Pleasant View Ave. The hopes to have the authority to appropriate funds to add the Pleasant View Ave sewer project to the current SRF project.
And I'd like to add that these warrants is no financial impact to the town. So again, thanks for all who got us into this situation, and we're looking forward to approval at town meeting. And I think I'll skip this one.
Okay.
Any questions? Any comments?
And for me,
Next one is Small Water. Small Water is our agent who takes care of our pump stations outside the company. One of the things that they're looking at is SCADA. Now, SCADA, it's been a while, but just for the people at home and for even myself, what does SCADA stand for? It stands for the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. And what it does is very important for the town because we can react to situations a lot faster. The information goes into a computer. The actual pump itself, you can see it working on the computer. If there is a problem, instead of someone going out and fixing it, we can remotely fix the problem. And again, it saves time, but it also saves, if there's a situation with a pump, it will save, we can shut the pump down and save it and save the town quite a bit of money on repairs. So I strongly recommend that we continue doing the SCADA. But a situation came up the other day, and I was talking, and I don't know if you guys know Jimmy Bro at the DPW, and I just want to pass my hopes to Jimmy. He's been ill, and I hope he's recovering. We love Jimmy. He's a good guy. He's been working with the Sewer Commission since I know Butch and I had been on it, and probably longer. But he made a recommendation, which I think I just want to throw it out there for the next board to consider, is that right now, in our proposals, we have 10 pump stations. Do we need them on all 10 pump stations, or could we let the minor ones go? I would recommend to take a look at the pump stations, maybe look at some records and see what the past history was. But if we could save the town and our residents some money and going with maybe the larger pumps, that might be something for the new board to consider. So again, that's just my recommendation out there.
Mr. Chairman, did Jimmy have a recommendation?
I think Jimmy, and Barbara, let me know if I'm wrong, I think Jimmy recommended exactly what I said.
Correct.
I'm not quoting him, but I think he's correct. He's worked the systems, and some of the stations are like on, I think there's one on Whalen Road where it's a smaller unit, or there's one smaller
I think
unit.
that's a question for Wright Pierce to tell
And
us.
I think that's a question for the future board to consider as well. No, go ahead.
So I'm sorry, so you believe that Wright Pierce we should listen to the recommendation on whether we should continue with SCADA on every pump station?
I would look at the pump stations and see what the, one is SWS should give a recommendation because they've been doing the call-outs.
Okay.
The big pumps, as we saw at our last meeting, was pretty impressive, but it's an impressive station in itself. The smaller ones, I don't know, and I agree with Butch, what Butch said. An engineer should tell you, but if they're not working as they are on Lancaster Ave or something, you might want to consider either putting them on a lower priority or, and again, that's something that is going to be with your guys on the new board.
So do we know already, and I've only been on for about a year, I don't know the difference between small and big, or the difference between
The small,
one pump station or the other, so to me, they've all been just pump stations.
I think SWS can give you the recommendations since they're working on it.
Okay.
And what is it easier for them? I know the ones that we look at the reports where we've been having difficulties, those are ones I definitely would want to have on because we can make those adjustments instantaneously. If a smaller pump is not working, again, that's something that you guys would have to take a look at. And maybe at the end of the day, you're going to go all the way across the board I just thought it was,
Might even be nice if small water footed some of the bill. We're making their contract easier.
that's true, but the main thing is protecting the pumps, so hopefully they're monitoring these pumps. The pump is only as good as people monitoring it. So if the alarm goes off and no one's monitoring the computer, it's kind of a waste of money as well. I figured what I'll do is throw out Jimmy's recommendation, because I thought it was a good one, and it's something that, like I said, Jimmy knows the pumps as well. And again, Jimmy, if you're watching or at home, I hope you have a speedy recovery, and thank you for all you've done for us.
You want to have a speedy recovery. You want to give them more work. Wow.
Actually, trying to give him less work. Grease trap, any questions on SCADA, by the way? Okay. Grease trap compliance?
We don't have it yet. It was on here in case it did come in, but she'll have it for Debbie from Small Water will have it for the 5/12 meeting.
Okay. And the pump station reports?
They're in the package.
Okay. Did everyone see the pump stations? They look pretty good, but I would recommend we review them at the next meeting when we have Small Water there.
I think the comments that I have on the pump station reports are pretty much along the same lines as I've had along the way. I know at the last meeting where the Small Water was in attendance at our meeting, I had several questions related to some previous reports, and those comments were not shared with Small Water and weren't given back to them for them to comment on. And so I would still be interested in their comments and how those questions relate and where are we on that. And on the grease trap compliance monitoring, when we talk about SWSS, I guess there's also a question about whether we have notified or started sending out notification of non-compliance fees. And that's the only question that I have on that.
It's, I think, further down the agenda.
It's further down. Okay. All right. Sorry, I jumped.
Actually, no, we're,
I think we moved the agenda around. Or you made a new one.
I hope it's there. Anyway, it went out.
It went out.
It went out on
Notification
the
went out.
24th.
Awesome. All right. So non-compliance
Has been
has been
distributed.
at least.
Notified.
Yeah. Oh, it was after 1 Main Street. We kind of skipped right over it, that it went out on Friday, the 24th, and I've been getting lots of calls and input yesterday and today.
I'm curious about lots of calls and input. When the notice, from what my recollection was, the notice says not to contact your office.
It didn't go so well.
It didn't go so
No,
well.
well, because people are providing the logs, what do I need, what should I do? The comment about submitting a written request to the commission was more to request a hearing. So and I haven't gotten any requests for hearings yet, so.
I think it's more informational
It's
stuff. because they
information
get
and
something-
turning in and trying to,
Which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think the more questions there are, at least it's starting to work, and that's a good thing. But I think at the next meeting.
However,
Outstanding.
we're still moving forward with the non-compliance fees because they're still not in compliance.
Correct.
And there have been no hearings, is that what?
correct.
Okay, and so I guess I'm curious about the information that you've been asked about, or what information that is unclear, so that we might be able to help businesses in town in the future avoid those non-compliance fees
Yeah, well.
and not have to contact you.
Right. Basically, I've been giving out a lot of checklists. We had talked about an updated checklist. Eventually, I would like it incorporated into the forms page of our regulations. It's not in there yet, but the next time we redo regulations. The one that had both grease traps and grease interceptors on, you had also recommended that it only have a certain amount of lines. Somebody else mentioned it also. So I have that one. And then I also did another one up, just because this one has a lot of information, and a good number of our customers don't have external units, so it was just more simple. And this was the one that needed a weekly inspection, so that's, I just have, it's been questions like that. What do I need to do to maintain compliance? So I pull out the checklists and say, weekly inspections, you know, cleaning as needed.
So then so then to be clear, they haven't been doing these weekly or these inspections?
Not many of them. Some
Okay.
some have, and some have submitted their forms that show it. But
Okay.
if they haven't submitted it, they're still not in compliance. So we're just kind of going through why you're not in compliance. A lot of discussion.
So then, do you think, Barb, in your opinion, is this more of an educational process that we need to educate the users on what they need to do, or?
Seems to be, even though I feel like we've done it before, but they seem to be listening and more interested in what they can do to
Okay.
maintain compliance.
So we're on the right track.
They are.
We're on the right track.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Not for me.
Next one is the Sewer Commission projects update. As we know, Mike's not here, so the flow metering rate, the last one would be the privately funded extension policy. Troy, I see here no updates, or
I have no
Okay.
further update right now.
business manager reports.
I have one invoice tonight. I need to do, I'll have more for the next meeting. It's just the City of Fitchburg's bill, and it's here because they're very adamant about getting it in a timely fashion. It did come in at the same amount as we expected it to. Same amount we provided them, they have billed us, so it shouldn't be
Do you need it signed, or?
just initial. And then my only other thing,
Do you need all of our initials?
nope,
or-
just initial, just for your review.
What, you want to see the water bill?
Not particularly.
This is our budget, right?
Correct.
See enough of my own water bills.
That
Sewer,
one was bigger than probably your, maybe, I don't know.
about that.
Yeah, hope so. I'll be working on the last quarter of the fiscal year sewer billing. It should be out hopefully within a week, I hope. That's my plan. And the last thing I have is that I just want to thank Betty Donnell, who has been our tax work-off program person for many years, from when I was in the Ritter Building, and then she moved with me to the DPW, and she's been wonderful, but she
Very
is...
smart woman.
Yeah, stepping,
Yes.
she is, she's a wonderful lady. And we will miss her. She's been very helpful, stuffing my bills and filing, and she moved over and helped Amanda with filing also, so she will be missed.
Where did she go? Why did
She's
we?
going to actually sell her house, so the tax work-off doesn't help her anymore.
We'll still welcome volunteers.
Well, she offered, she was very nice, but Doreen was able to find us a new tax work-off lady, Ann Penny, so we thank her very much for also serving, and we'll start working with her this week.
Thank you, Betty.
I too want to thank Betty, and Bob, if you can write a letter of thank you for her and have the commission sign that, a letter of appreciation for what she did. And she did do a good job, and she was a very nice lady. Well, she still is, I should say.
Okay.
She's still a nice lady.
And then just the upcoming meetings or activities, basically, are the town meeting on the 2nd, and the town election on the 16th, and our next regular meeting will be the 26th.
Again, the 26th will be a...
Televised?
No, it won't.
Oh, start at 6 PM as a workshop.
Yeah, it's not the 26th. You got one on the 14th.
No, I don't.
Don't we have a meeting on the 14th?
The 12th, I skipped it.
Yep.
You are right.
It's the
Sorry,
12th, huh?
I'm jumping right over. 12th. Sorry, so May 12th, there'll be our regular meeting at the DPW, starting at 6 PM.
And the next televised meeting will be on the 26th.
Right. Thank you, Dave.
Okay, just a reminder, the town meeting, we hope every resident can come out. This is an opportunity for you to tell the town what you want. That's what's good about this government. You guys out there control your own destiny, so I hope we see you all at town meeting on Saturday, May 2nd, for the annual town meeting at 9 o'clock. Then on May 16th will be the town elections, and I hope you all remember Sue Burnish, B-U-N-I-S-H, as a write-in candidate. Again, we want to thank you for that. Commissioner comments. Butch?
Comment about what?
Any closing comments?
Sewer, about sewer.
Have you had fun the last few years? And I'd like to see the grease trap issue put to bed. If they're in violation, they should pay the fine or close their business. That cut and dry.
Troy?
I would say that that Butch has, and you have, made serving on the Sewer Commission fun, and you both will be missed. It's only been a short time that I've been able to work with you, and I'm sorry to see you go.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I'm lucky, but it's all been good. It was short but good, so I will miss both of you.
Thank you, Troy. I just want to say, and I'm going to go a little bit further. 5 years ago, when Butch and I came on the board, we had Jay Simeone, Carl, and Mr. Ebersol. And I got to say, working with you guys has been a pleasure. So I want to thank Bob and Jay Simeone as well. Then we went to our new board with you, Mike, Butch, and Carl. And again, tremendous amount of work done and good people. And Butch, I just want to say, the Bellotta name in town, you shaped Lunenburg, your family. And I can't say how proud I am of the Bellotta family, from you to your brother Joe, to Joanna, and to Jay.
My brother Joe is a unique person.
And
He
I
never
know,
forgot a name or a face.
and I know we miss him, but again, with the Bellotta family help, the history of Lunenburg, and that can never be taken away. So again, I thank you for serving with us for the 5 years. It's been fun. Also, I just want to make sure we don't do it alone. There's a lot of work that goes into Sewer Commission. So just a quick moment, I want to thank Wes and Sampson, who's been our engineers over the course of the 5 years that I've been here. Wright Pierce, who shown to be very dedicated on helping us with the expansion. I want to thank SWS, Debbie, and Bruce, and all the guys there for helping us with the transition as far as outsourcing, which shows to be a pretty good success. We got to thank Jack, the DPW director, and of course Jimmy Bro. We can't leave here, Butch and I, without saying thank you to Barbara for everything she's done for putting up with us. But most,
Secretary.
I also want to thank all the boards that we worked with and all the boards that we've had roundtables or open discussions with. When Butch and I came on the Sewer Commission, I think we had just over 460 customers, and we're up to 800 customers today. So that's been a good success. And again, Sue, when you come on board, it's really just common sense and business sense, and let the other people tell you how the pipe gets laid. But as Butch said, it has been fun. But most of all, I really want to thank the residents of Lunenburg. Our goal here as a commission was to serve them, and I hope we didn't let them down over the last 5 years. It's been fun. And like I say, I really want to thank all the residents who voted for us. And again, when you run for election and see your name on a ballot, as Butch and I were talking at the beginning of the night, it was kind of cool to see that. So I urge people to come out and join a board. If you have any questions on why you would want to join a board, just come out and serve. You meet a lot of nice people, you meet a lot of different situations, but you feel good at the end of the day. And like I said, with the Bellotta family, they've done a lot for the town of Lunenburg, and we owe them something for that, for their services. And Troy, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you as well. You brought a little bit of stability to the board as far as your expertise, and you actually helped us streamline a lot of situations. So I thought that was excellent. So again, I'm going to miss you guys, but I'm not leaving town. But it has been fun. And I think we'll end it at that, unless there's any more comments. Barb?
Good, but we'll miss you
Can I
too.
shake your hand on television?
You can shake it. Thank you.
How about you?
And Butch, again, thank you very much, Butch.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
All in favor?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, yeah. You're trying to confuse me on the last night. All in favor? Aye, aye. Again, Lunenburg, thank you very much for everything, and please come out and vote. Thank you.